we are here to help you balance the excitement of the holidays, because I love the holidays, whatever it is, I love them all, with keeping your kids safe.
And joining us to talk about this is Dr. Mario Zambrano, a pediatric emergency medicine physician at Homestead Hospital. Welcome to Smart Life, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back.
Are you excited?
Excited.
Best time of year.
Holidays. Yes, it is.
Big plans for the holidays?
Yeah, I have some plans.
Some plans? Okay, good.
Girls getting the list ready to Santa?
It's huge. I'm really worried.
Yeah.
I love his girls.
Just speaking of kids, kids get all excited. I used to get excited, get the presents,
I still get excited.
Get the bicycle out there. I can't wait to get out there in the street and start riding it. Right. Things like that. What should parents consider before the kid gets so excited it might be dangerous?
Correct. For example, lights. The lights, make sure you buy lights that are approved and tested. Because you go to the dollar store and you can get these lights that are brought from other countries, I'm not going to say, and they're not tested. So you put them together and they can be fire hazards.
Okay, we're talking about the Christmas lights.
Correct, the Christmas lights.
No, and there's lights for Hanukkah as well. Right. I mean, there's lights for all the holidays, and that's a very good point.
Correct.
Yes,
yeah. You actually brought a lot of points here, Doctor, and I'm going to reach out because I can only memorize so many at my age, right? But this is a great one. Don't overload the circuit with so many lights. That happened to me once.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So yeah, definitely you got to know your circuit. You know, if you think that your circuit can take the load, and it's good to check with the electrician because fires can spread pretty quickly, electrical fires especially. So you want to make sure that's not an issue.
This is a good one too.
Ooh, use battery-operated candles.
Correct.
And not turn them off.
Correct.
And if not, turn them off, right.
Yeah, and during the holidays, we like the house to smell nice. And
how many of us leave it on?
Correct. And we leave them on sometimes, and we forget. We leave the house or we go to sleep, and
so dangerous.
And there you go. And you have a fire when you least expect it.
This one I think is paramount. I mean, this one's huge, and I cook a lot. If you're cooking, don't leave the kitchen unattended. And I know it sounds like common sense. I get it. But I remember once I left, of course, the grease fires are the worst, and I literally ignited the stove. And, well, nothing happened. Thank you, Jesus. I had one of the fire extinguishers, but oh my gosh.
Very nice.
That can happen.
Correct. Very important also because I see a lot of burns in the ER, and children sometimes are curious. They want to see what mom's cooking, and they tip over the pot and they get burns, and serious burns sometimes. God forbid they get burns on the face, but most of the time they're second degree and they end up being in the emergency room.
That's awful.
Dr. Z, I've seen a lot of times people go out there at New Year's or any big celebration, they whip out their guns and start shooting, they make the noise. I mean,
yeah, unfortunately, we live in a society where guns are, we have the liberty to use them.
But be smart.
But be smart about it. Yeah, don't shoot them on. And they take advantage of the fireworks to shoot them out, and those bullets, even though you shoot them in the air, they come down and can hurt somebody.
No matter what, yeah. And speaking of shooting them up in the air, fireworks as well. I remember somebody was playing in my neighborhood and they threw it up in the air and it landed right here on my legs and it exploded. Thankfully, it was a small one, but I got burned. My dad had to take me to the hospital and blah, blah, blah.
Fireworks are also a danger. You got to supervise your children when you're doing it. I'm seeing a lot of parents use the cell phone when they're watching their kids and they don't observe, and a lot of these accidents occur because they're not paying attention.
Speaking of paying attention, we have to stress that, emphasize that they have to pay attention.
Correct.
Don't worry about more of the adults. Kind of keep an eye on the children more so.
Yes, correct. We live in a society that we're geared to multitask, and sometimes the parent is texting or taking care of business, and the child is out there doing things that he shouldn't.
The task should be watching that child,
correct.
And that's it.
And turn
and
off
speaking
that
of
phone.
texting, so let's go to the big one here. That's a pet peeve for me, which is the texting and driving.
Right.
I know during the holidays people are stressed. They're trying to get all the, who knows, the food, the lists, everything. But, oh my goodness, it's a problem, doctor.
Yes.
How many do you see in the ER where or you hear from the cops that they were texting and driving?
Oh, it's daily. I get at least 1 or 2 MVAs
Daily.
and sometimes they're simple and not of no consequence, but once in a while you get one that has a serious injury, and it's because of the texting.
And it could be the parents that were doing it. Shame on them.
Correct, and the parent, correct. And unfortunately, we're doing that because we want to be connected, but be smart about it. That message, you can wait till you get to your destiny to
What
read.
could be that important, right?
Correct.
Nothing.
And before we came onto the show, we were talking with you, and you mentioned that there's a lot of other reasons people go to the ER, and you mentioned one was medication.
Correct. You know, kids are curious, so they'll find ways to open a vial that's childproof, and they'll get into detergents. Always have poison control's number handy. You don't want to go to the ER without knowing what the child ingested. You want to call poison control. They have a database of all the possibilities, and you call them first, 1-800-222-1222. They'll tell you whether you need to worry about whatever the ingestion was, or you just follow up with your doctor.
And doctor, how many patients do you see, little kids, let's just say, that they open the toys, and you know how there's always some put it together and there's little things, imagínate, they stick it in their mouth and then boom.
Correct.
They're
Choking
going to-
hazards, that's a big one. You know, always, again, we have to watch our kids when we open little toys that have small parts to it. A 1 or 2 year old can pick up a small thing and ingest it or put it in his ear and his nose, and they end up in the ER with a foreign body.
That's right.
Or in the esophagus, which sometimes has to be retrieved, or in the ear or nose.
My dad told me that when I was 4 years old, I don't remember this, but I swallowed a nickel. I swallowed a nickel.
And now it's worth a quarter.
No, but we had to wait obviously a few days
Correct.
for it to
Yeah.
make an
Yeah.
exit.
Another big.
And it made an exit.
Correct.
I know.
Could have been a quarter, could have been a silver
Can you
dollar.
believe that? So my poor father had to, endeavor all the time to make sure it, made the
Right.
exit. It made the exit. And on that note, doctor.
Yes. Wait, but before you go, a lot of people go to the emergency room for things that are preventable. Like, give us an example of what's preventable that could have prevented. All these things we talked about, perhaps?
This, for example, the medications, making sure they're up in a cabinet that's locked. Discard medication that expired. Don't keep medication that expired, because sometimes these medications get into the wrong hands.
Absolutely.
Either a child or someone that abuses them. So get rid of those medications that you don't need anymore and are expired.
And for our viewers, doctor, could you reiterate that number for poison control? I think it's so important.
1-800-222-1222. Keep it in your head. Hopefully you won't use it, but it's good to have it handy.
Great. Hope they'll never use it.
Yeah.
Doctor, thank you for
Thank
joining
you
us
very
on The
much.
Smart Life.
There.
Thank you, doctor.
Have a good time.
More Smart Life after this.